Imagine boarding a crowded flight, the air thick with anticipation, only to witness a scene that chills you to the bone. A sharply dressed black man settles into his first-class seat, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the storm brewing beside him. Suddenly, a white passenger, her face twisted in unwarranted fury, demands his removal, her voice laced with accusations that reek of prejudice. The cabin falls silent as flight attendants hesitate, tension mounting like a ticking clock. What if this ordinary traveler held a secret that could shatter her bigotry in an instant? Stick around. This tale of hidden power and exposed racism will leave you breathless. Marcus Thompson had always navigated life with a quiet resilience, a shield forged from years of subtle slights and overt barriers. At 42, he was a man of few words but profound impact, his dark skin bearing the invisible scars of a society that often judged him before knowing him. Born in a small southern town where segregation's echoes still lingered, Marcus had risen through sheer determination, earning degrees in criminal justice and dedicating his life to upholding the law from the shadows. On this particular day, he boarded Flight 287 from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., his mind already drifting to the high-stakes briefing awaiting him at headquarters. Dressed in a tailored suit that spoke of professionalism rather than extravagance, he slid into seat 2A, first class, a rare upgrade courtesy of his frequent travels. The cabin buzzed with the usual pre-flight chaos, passengers stowing bags, children fidgeting, the faint hum of engines warming up. Beside him, in 2B, sat Karen Whitaker, a middle-aged woman with perfectly coiffed hair and an air of entitlement that seemed to precede her. She glanced at Marcus once, twice, her eyes narrowing as if his presence disrupted some unspoken order. The flight was delayed slightly due to weather, giving the passengers time to settle, but for Karen, that time brewed discomfort into disdain. She shifted in her seat, clutching her designer purse tighter, her mind racing with assumptions rooted in stereotypes she'd never questioned. As the doors closed and the safety video began, Marcus pulled out his tablet, reviewing notes from his latest case. Little did anyone know, beneath that unassuming exterior lay a badge that commanded respect and fear. Curiosity hung in the air. Why this man? Why this flight? The stage was set for an encounter that would expose the fragility of prejudice. The plane taxied down the runway, the initial ascent smooth, but the atmosphere inside growing increasingly turbulent. Karen's unease festered like an untreated wound. She stole glances at Marcus, noting his composed posture, the way he typed methodically on his device. To her, he didn't belong in first class. His presence an anomaly in her worldview, shaped by a lifetime of unchallenged privileges. Inspired by countless real incidents where black professionals faced unwarranted scrutiny on flights, this moment mirrored the everyday injustices that chipped away at dignity. As the seatbelt sign dimmed, Karen leaned toward the aisle, summoning a flight attendant with a sharp wave. The young woman approached, her smile professional but wary. Karen's complaint started subtly, a murmur about feeling uncomfortable, her words laced with implications she didn't need to spell out. The attendant nodded politely, glancing at Marcus, who remained oblivious, headphones in, focused on his work. But Karen pressed on, her voice rising just enough to draw nearby eyes. She insisted on verification of his ticket, questioning how someone like him afforded the upgrade. The attendant, trained in de-escalation, checked Marcus's boarding pass discreetly. It was valid, of course, but Karen wasn't satisfied. She escalated, claiming his bag looked suspicious, her accusations veering into territory that hinted at racial profiling without saying the words outright. Whispers rippled through the cabin. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, some averting their gazes, others exchanging knowing looks. This wasn't just about a seat. It was a microcosm of systemic bias, where a black man's mere existence could spark unfounded fear. Marcus sensed the shift, removing his headphones as the attendant apologized softly to him. He offered a calm nod, but inside, frustration simmered. He'd faced this before, the airport pat-downs, the skeptical stares in boardrooms. each time it reminded him of his youth, when a routine traffic stop turned hostile, or when job applications went unanswered despite his qualifications. Yet, he held back, knowing confrontation often backfired for men like him. Karen, emboldened by the attention, demanded the captain's intervention. The flight attendant radioed ahead, and soon a supervisor appeared, her face etched with reluctance. The plane leveled at cruising altitude, but the emotional stakes climbed higher. Passengers murmured, a few recorded subtly on their phones, the incident poised to go viral. Marcus's heart rate quickened, not from fear, but from the weight of representation. He represented not just himself, but every black professional who'd been diminished. The supervisor attempted mediation, but Karen's persistence turned the aisle into a battleground of whispers and glares. Tension thickened, the air feeling heavier than the clouds outside. Would this escalate to an emergency landing, or would Marcus's secret turn the tide? The injustice unfolded layer by layer, revealing how racism disguised as concern eroded trust in humanity, leaving everyone on edge. The confrontation reached its boiling point as the supervisor, caught between protocol and the brewing storm, asked Marcus to step to the galley for a private discussion. The cabin watched in hushed anticipation, the hum of the engines underscoring the drama. Karen sat smugly, arms crossed, convinced her instincts were vindicated. This moment encapsulated the raw power imbalance in racial encounters, where one person's bias could hijack an entire space. Marcus rose slowly, his movements deliberate, exuding an authority that began to unsettle those around him. As he reached into his inner jacket, Karen's eyes widened, her mind leaping to irrational fears. But instead of anything threatening, he produced a sleek leather wallet. With a flick, he revealed his FBI badge, the gold emblem gleaming under the cabin lights. The supervisor's posture shifted instantly, from cautious to deferential. As she verified the credentials, gasps echoed through first class. Karen's face drained of color, her entitlement crumbling like a house of cards. The badge wasn't just identification, it symbolized years of service, investigations into corruption, and a commitment to justice that far outstripped her petty grievances. In that instant, the power dynamic flipped. The supervisor, now apologetic, explained Marcus's status to Karen in hushed tones, but the damage was done. The entire section bore witness. Marcus didn't gloat. His expression remained stoic, a testament to the emotional labor required in such situations. Yet, the revelation sent shockwaves. Passengers who had stayed silent now murmured in support, some even applauding quietly. Karen shrank into her seat, the weight of her actions pressing down, her worldview cracked by the undeniable truth before her. This climax wasn't about revenge, but exposure, the stark unveiling of prejudice in the face of irrefutable merit. The plane continued its journey, but the air had changed, charged with a mix of relief and reckoning. Marcus returned to his seat, badge tucked away, but the impact lingered, forcing everyone to confront the ugliness that had surfaced. As the flight progressed toward landing, the cabin settled into an uneasy calm. Karen avoided eye contact, her earlier bravado replaced by silent mortification. The supervisor ensured Marcus's comfort, offering complimentary amenities as a quiet gesture of amends. No formal charges were pressed. Marcus chose grace over escalation, knowing that true change often came from quiet demonstrations of strength rather than loud retribution. Upon arrival in D.C., passengers disembarked with lingering glances, the incident etching itself into their memories. Marcus proceeded to his meeting, where he briefed on a case involving hate crimes, his personal experience fueling his resolve. Karen, meanwhile, faced the repercussions in her own way. Whispers of the event spread via social media from fellow travelers, turning her into an unwitting example of unchecked bias. This story, drawn from real accounts of racial profiling on airlines, underscores how systemic racism persists in everyday spaces, eroding trust and dignity. Marcus's poise highlighted the resilience required of marginalized individuals, turning a moment of injustice into one of empowerment. In the end, it's a reminder that prejudice thrives in ignorance, but crumbles under truth. How many such encounters go unnoticed, shaping lives in silence? What if we all challenged our assumptions before they harm others? Reflect on this. In a world quick to judge, true power lies in empathy and understanding. Share your thoughts below. Has something like this happened to you? Let's foster conversations that bridge divides and build a more just society.